Mistakes were made.
I don't really know what you want. I did not ask for this. I just don't know how to tell people that they messed up my head, and so now I have to live with this. I even gave the girl a tip, and I feel bad about giving her a tip. So now I just look goofy as all can be, and I have to live with this. Dumb haircut.
Confusion ensued.
What are you doing?
It's Pilk!
That's Pepsi and milk, not Pepto and milk.
I'm still gonna drink it!
There was awe.
Did you know that you can just go to the store and buy this? Like, not a restaurant store, just a normal grocery store in America. This is a gallon of pickles. This is a salt hamburger pickles, high capacity style. Okay, there was no license, there was no background check. I just walked in and I bought this. I just picked it up off the shelf. I didn't have to ask anybody. It was just there. I don't know how I'm gonna put this in my fridge once I open it.
Anger arose.
I'm not crazy. You're crazy. You think that you can talk to me like that? You can't talk to me like that. I'm not crazy. You're the one that's lost it.
Romance persisted.
Hey, hot stuff. Why don't you come over here? Come here, buddy. Come here. Oh, come here. Oh, my goodness. So much love. I'm just a good potato. I'm a good potato. Oh, my goodness. So many kisses. Love potatoes. I got a potato.
He cuddles too. I taught him that. I taught him how to cuddle. Just like this. He'll calm down and he will cuddle.
Oh, we're so excited. Do we have to go play? Come on, let's go. Let's go play. Come on, let's go.
Solutions were found.
Hey, why don't we just use the can opener?
Okay, welcome back, everybody. My name's Austin,
My name's Jessica.
and this is Gaming as Adults. And basically, we've been working out this dilemma for a minute. This is cream corn style sweet corn.
Cream style sweet corn.
Cream corn in a can.
Yum yum.
This stuff is particularly terrible, in my opinion. I don't care much for canned cream corn.
However, we got a Reddit comment. Was it Reddit?
I think it was a YouTube comment on one of our other Will It Brew stupidity that we did. Anyways, and so we've been working on how in the blazin' are we gonna do this, because the dilemma that comes to mind is this has milk products of some kind, otherwise it's not cream corn. And so if it has milk products,
There's no milk in this.
well, there's gotta be milk substitute, some powdered milk or something.
Ingredients: corn, water, sugar, modified cornstarch, salt. We should have read the ingredients rather than mulling over this for like 3 months.
Well,
Let's proceed as if there is milk.
how do you ferment something with milk in it? Fermented milk is otherwise known as yogurt.
Yummy.
And the last time we did this, we had the pudding, the tapioca pudding. And that had like a milk substitute something or other. It was like milk powder that was in it.
And if you want to know how that one turned out, just go check out the video.
Okay, long story short,
It's terrible.
it spoiled. It tasted like soured milk. Go figure. It had milk products. But we did that in a carboy. And so we're trying to figure out how do we do this with something that won't go bad that fast. And that's when I found out about pressure fermenting. And that's when I also found out about mini kegs. This is a TM Craft 1 point something or other gallon mini keg. And long story short, it sucks. What?
It also holds corona in the handles, apparently.
I've scrubbed that thing. Okay, well,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. This thing is weird.
This is a great product if you need to distribute beer, but not if you need to brew in it. It was not designed for that function. One of the questions that led me to brew in this is, can you actually ferment in it? And the answer was, yes, of course, because it has a pressure relief. Don't do that. Do not do that. If you end up doing that, the product that I ran into is half fermented. And when I mean half fermented, I mean half of the gallon is not fermented. It comes out pulpy, like a bunch of sediment, but all that sediment's supposed to fall down. It never does. I know at one point in time we waited like a month and a half. Pressure fermenting is supposed to take a week. Mm-hmm. So that sucks. And so we decided to upgrade. This is a small torpedo keg. This is better because it has a different shape. Whereas this one has a conical shape at the top. You might be able to see it's got a conical, and then this is the only hole. This one's a little bit different because it's more of a flat top style. These are better for brewing in, and so the idea here is, what happens if we take our sweet corn and we try and brew it? So that's what we're gonna do. All right, let's make some predictions real fast. What do we think's gonna happen?
I think that it's
got sugar in it.
yeah, I think that we will have alcohol. But I think that we're going to have alcoholic corn chunks.
So hopefully we're gonna have to boil it in order to make it all pure and everything. Does it say how much sugar is in this?
Has to.
8 grams of sugar per serving size. So 8 times 3.5, so what, 28 grams of sugar?
Somewhere around there.
Per can, times 4. That's not gonna be enough.
We're gonna have to add sugar.
We're gonna have to add sugar. Or we can just YOLO it and add the absolute bare minimum amount of water in order to make a brew and just see what happens. Because technically corn has sugar in it.
Let's add sugar.
Give it benefit of the doubt.
Yep. We're gonna treat it like it has milk in it. We're gonna keep it in the fridge.
That was the problem, is how do you ferment something faster, but you can't disrupt the fermentation process? And the way that you get around that is by pressure fermenting, because yeast happens to react very quickly when it is under pressure, but temperature isn't so much of a big issue. That's why we went with pressure fermenting, because if we just left this in a carboy for 2 months, obviously it would spoil. So
but I think it's gonna do something, but I don't think it's gonna do a good something. My expectations are very low.
Yeah, that's fair. And we have agreed that we have 4 cans of this, and we are going to attempt to turn this into 1 gallon of liquid beer.
Alcohol, something.
1 gallon of something. Each can is 14.70 ounces, so about a pound. So.
All right, let's get stepping.
Let's get stepping. Okay, so it's been a couple of days. We had to wash some things, and things happen. But I got 4 cans of this here sweet corn, and I think we're going for like a gallon. Yeah, a gallon. So the keg's only going to be halfway full. So, I mean, we can hold 2.6, so we can spread it out if you want. Well, regardless of the fact, this shit needs to heat up.
I wanted to come over here.
All right. You want to give me some water?
Yeah, I can do that. Potato, what are you doing in the kitchen? Get out of here. Come on, shoot.
Do. Oh my. Yeah, sure, let's see what happens. Oh,
Where did you get this?
what are you talking about? It came with Tommy Tippy,
Oh,
the anti-colic thing.
that's cute.
Yeah, isn't it?
Scrape out the
gonna rinse them out for a minute here. Because we're gonna lose some water while we're doing the thing. Just dump it all up in there.
Water.
Water.
On the floor.
I'm totally in the way of the shot. All of this probably would have been better if we had the camera like looking into it.
Probably, but we're chaotic.
Oh, new development, by the way. As it turns out, the brand new keg does not actually fit in the mini fridge. I thought it would, and I thought wrong. So there's that. But good news, there isn't milk in this because we finally read the label, and I guess there isn't milk in it. So
I suppose we could just put it outside.
that could work.
It's cold enough, oddly.
Do we add sugar to this?
Yes, we do.
We do. No, not that sugar.
Hold on. That's not what I'm doing.
Because that sugar is just about it. Oh my. Alright. Oh, that can's not really clean at all. Come on, Austin. Get with the protocol. The programming. Okay, so cans is clean. Working on sugar and heaty doodads. Give her a stir. Wow, that looks disgusting. How much sugar is that?
I don't know. Try to scoop it a little bit more.
Okay, so we're gonna add about 4, maybe 5 cups of sugar and see what happens. So you can just dump it all in. And I want you to give it a little rinse. Perfect. 10 out of 10. I smell burning, there's something on the burner. Yeah, it's fine.
Alright, now we boil it.
Now we boil it. So this is the yeast that we have. This is just like a generic ale yeast. This is Safe Ale S33. I don't really know what yeast to choose, so we just picked one. This is cooled down a bit. If you guys are curious,
this is what it looks like. Just kind of corny mash stuff. And it's going in the keg. And we got a real keg. And so let's see if I can't pour this. Well, I'll try my best. Ew. I'm gonna rinse this out a little. Oh, no, sure. Oh. That's good enough. And then, yeah, pitch the yeast in here and we see what happens. So one of the things, oh dear, can I open this? I need scissors. Can you pass me the scissors? Scissors! Most of the other yeast, like packets, pour kind of easily. This one decided that it didn't really want to. So you notice we did not strain this at all. That is because there's a little strainer doodad, and I would stick my hand in there, but there's currently a bunch of yeasty and corn bits all over it. So I'm not going to do that. Would you pass me the lid right behind you? This thing is awesome. Oh, can I do it one-handed? Yeah, that's kind of it. And then the last real key ingredient here is the sputting valve, which goes on the input side, and you just kind of set it. And that's really it. There isn't a whole lot of really science to this, and it's not nearly as complicated as I thought it would be. This should take maybe 5 days. So, execution. Are we putting this outside, or are we leaving it in a controlled environment, or otherwise inside?
Let's leave it inside since there's no milk product.
Okay. I don't know how well it's gonna work. Oh, well, we know it's probably not gonna be great. All right. Would you go get the sputting valve? Yeah, it should be right over there.
This thing?
Yep, that's the sputting valve. So sputting valve's pretty cool. It just kind of attaches here. Let me see if I can't balance this and attach it. And this is ball lock. So you just kind of line it up. There's not really a key. Come on. Don't embarrass me in front of the people. And this is sputting valve, otherwise known as a diaphragm valve. What this does is it contains the amount of pressure inside of here, but doesn't allow the pressure to grow excessively. So previously we had this all the way in, and this is going to be tricky because I don't know. There aren't markings on this. This is just a threaded little piece, and I don't know where exactly the pressure lies. So I'm just going to kind of put it until there's a little bit of tension, and we will see what kind of pressure we can hold. I guess is like the best idea that I can come up with. Yeah, fermenting under pressure, it doesn't take a lot of pressure, and it also doesn't take a lot of time. So we will come back in a week. You know, they're making quick disconnect fittings for computers that are like this.
Sounds like a horrible idea.
It's not a horrible idea because, here, you can take this out, right? Now put it in there. All right, now pull as hard as you can. Literally give it the greatest yoink that there ever was. It's not gonna come apart. The threads on the corny keg adapter, dude, it's a calibrated valve. Or not calibrated valve, it's a calibrated gauge. Don't drop it.
I didn't mean to drop it. I didn't realize I was going to get it apart that easily.
Yeah, that's how it comes apart. So the way that this works is when you press it in all the way, you can actually see these little metal pieces on the inside here. On every so often, you see those?
Yeah.
Those are the jaws. And the jaws actually hook into this piece of tubing, and it leaves minimal scarring. Oh, you're not going to be able to see it. Well, it leaves minimal scarring, marring, whatever you want to call it, and you just push it in. And the benefit of this is, previous to this sort of technology, we had compression fittings, which is a barb fitting. So it's a piece of tube with a little bit of a barb. Actually, I have an example of it. Hang on. There we go. So it's a barb fitting, all right? And as you can see, it's got these little notches in it, and these little notches, they make it so it's more difficult to pull the tube off inadvertently. And then obviously, if you do pull the tube off, you can just put it right back on.
This one needs washed.
That one needs washed? Yeah, I would agree with you. And then somebody came out and they said, hey, this is great, but I want it a little bit more secure. So then they made compression fittings, which is a barb fitting, but it has a collar that screws over the top. Well, the problem with this is in some very, very tight form factor, or even just some builds all across the way, there just isn't enough room in there. And so you get Oompa Loompas like me who got big old monkey mittens, and we're sitting here trying to, contortion ourselves so that we can tighten up this compression fitting.
Now, I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So you can feel where it leaves marks on the tube.
You can.
Does that mean eventually you're going to have to replace the tubing due to the pressure that the quick release puts on it? Because it feels like it's cracking.
Not unless it actually... This is surface level. And that is fine.
But let's say hypothetically, for whatever reason, you are anal about cleaning your loop once a week.
Okay.
Way too often. So you're...
For a computer or for this?
For a computer.
Okay.
So then you're leaving marring on your tube, and it's biting into it, and then you're releasing it and reattaching it and releasing it and reattaching it every week. Won't it eventually eat through the tube?
I guess eventually.
Is that something you would end up having to worry about? Because in my mind, in the way that I think, I can feel this cracking. Eventually this is just going to snap.
That's not cracking. It's actually a scratch. It's not a
Okay.
crack. So when I say it's surface level, I really do mean that it is surface level. It's necessary because...
I also can't see it that well because there's water droplets behind it.
That happens with condensation because this is the blow-off for excess CO2 so that the keg can ferment.
But in my mind, it just eventually this is just going to snap off, and you're either going to have it stuck in the compression, or tube is going to be too small and it won't fit anymore.
So you also have to understand that these are really, really small, and these would not be used in a computer. They scale them up so that they're larger, and it's also a different material. This isn't PETG, it's some sort of acrylic-based material. Yeah. It's a little bit different. So there is that. When you scale it up, you need more teeth. And when you have more teeth, there's less pressure needed on each individual tooth. Shall we say it like that? I guess technically over time...
So you're going to have less of that bite into the material.
Well, more volume of bite, but less pressure into it.
Yeah.
That marring that you're talking about is coming from you pulling on it.
I see.
So that's how that works.
So if we move this one, which hasn't
really been touched all that much.
Messed with.
There's a lot less marring, you see?
Yeah, there's just one ring
There's
where it's
still
been spun.
Right, there's still a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah. You just press it in there. You don't. Yep, just like that.
That one's stiff.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's marring from this being spun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And that's how that works.
Interesting.
So in the computer market, these are still extremely experimental, meaning that there's less than 100 that have ever been manufactured. So this is some sort of technology that likely we will see in the next couple of years to hit the consumer market. I was reading up on this. I think it was maybe Bits Power, maybe Alpha Cool. I don't know exactly who made them, but I know that somebody made them, and they're experimental prototypes right now, but they're functional prototypes, and that is most important. It's one thing to have a prototype of something, it's another thing for your prototype to actually work. Because...
If it doesn't work, is it really a prototype?
Yes.
It's just a
If it
mock-up.
doesn't work, it's not going to turn into a marketable product. So,
Anyway,
alright.
moving on to the beer.
Moving on to the beer, back to interesting things. Alright.
In. Out.
So, the sputting valve was on the input side, and the reason why it's on the input side is because the output side has a hose that goes in to extract the fluid. And so, when the excess CO2 is produced, it has to go somewhere because it's under pressure, and if it doesn't go anywhere, then this thing could blow up and send shrapnel through my skull in the middle of the night. That, while some of you might say that that's a good thing, I would not like to experience that. So you have to have excess pressure that goes somewhere. But you also want to control pressure inside of the vessel, so that's where this guy comes in. This is called a sputting valve, and it's a simple ball lock connector, and it literally, it just fits on just like that. As you can see, there is pressure in it, far more pressure than probably what we should have. However, as of this morning, I took this off because I noticed that the pressure was dropping. It isn't exactly scientific the way that I do things, and that's fair. But basically, on all of the batches that I've done in this keg, when the pressure starts to drop, I call it done. Because that means that CO2 is not being produced in a rate that is constant. Which means that it's falling out.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. It needs to fall out in order for, well, for us to drink it and for it to be alcohol. Being that this is an experiment, that's kind of just how I do things. I have hydrometer. I don't really care much to mess with it.
So let's grab our spigot.
So this thing's pretty cool. You guys will notice that when we brewed this, we did not filter it. So there are still very chunky particles of corn and other crap in here.
But we have a filter in here.
So that's correct. At the very bottom, there's a floating filter, and there's a metal bulb that is hollowed out that makes it so it always floats on top of all of the fluid, and then the rest is just, well, it's a filter at the end of a flexible tube. And so what it's supposed to do is get out the vast majority of the actual fluid without chunky bits. It's on. It's on. When this collar goes down, it's on.
Did it go down?
Yeah,
Is it on correctly?
it's on.
Okay.
Alright. This is a little off kilter, but it won't hurt us. The proper way to do this would be to pump it out with CO2 going on the input side and beverage coming on the output side. The only problem with that, actually I can show you. Since it serves no purpose anymore, this will be funny. Alright, so this is brand new. As you can see, it is not popped.
Do you want me to bring it into here?
No, I'm gonna turn this. You might want to stand back though. So, my pumper doodad doesn't work very well.
It's broke. All gone. No more. How do we fix that? Do we just order a new one?
I don't know. I don't think... So what's supposed to happen is there's a little valve right here, and this controls the flow. But the valve has ceased function, and there's a leak in it. And it doesn't hold pressure anymore. And so if it doesn't hold pressure, then I can't pump pressure. So I'm kind of just at the mercy of whatever pressure is built up until I can pour it out, and then I have to cold crash it, because I don't have a replacement.
Sorry.
Do your thing. Forward. Push it
Forward. It's very, very yellow.
And carbonated.
It looks a lot like lemon meringue.
Oh my gosh. It is liquid though.
Yes. It is in fact liquid. It's quite a bit of pressure in here.
Yeah. Alright, stop it.
Ready?
Go. Go, Web, go.
We're being optimistic and pulling it all off in case it's good.
Well, we're gonna have to pull it all out anyways because you can't open this thing while it's under pressure.
That's true.
Stop.
We could also just take it outside and dump it, because there's a pressure relief on the lid.
Yes. And this should be just about everything. Each one of these mason jars is 1/2 gallon.
Except the little one.
Except for the little one.
We're running out of pressure.
As long as this gets like 1/3 of the way, we'll be fine. Here, well, no, your hand is perfect. This is heinous.
Can you smell it?
No, I can't. But I just...
It looks very peculiar.
Okay. Corn beer. So we got our theoretical yield out, and it is fully fermented. It all looks basically the same.
I can't tell if there's sediment or not.
I don't know.
First impressions? Smell?
I haven't smelt it, but just looking at it, this looks like something that you could order at Starbucks that is branded milk substitute. Like that.
It's either milk substitute. It's very similar in color to soy milk.
I was thinking the almond milk.
Really?
Yeah, this looks very much like almond milk.
It also reminds me of like liquid lemon meringue pie.
You could also, if somebody poured this in a glass for me and told me that it was breast milk, I could believe that as well.
Yeah.
This does
Like
have
overheated.
like separated too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, breast milk.
Anyway, smell. It smells like alcohol.
It doesn't really have a smell.
No, it smells kind of just like alcohol with no taste.
It smells a bit like yeasty water, which honestly, the vast majority of you should not understand that unless you have brewed water. So, I have brewed water. That is why I know what that smell is, just to cover all of our bases.
All right.
Cheers!
It's a cream corn beer. That's the flavor. It didn't sour,
Nope.
but it doesn't taste good.
Okay. Let me try to put this into, like, beer terms as to what it sort of tastes like. Imagine an Indian pale ale without wheat. It's got kind of sweetness, kind of bitter hints at the end.
It's got a very tangy.
It's very tangy.
like residual feeling.
God, it does not taste good.
No.
It almost reminds me of Natty Light. It's like if somebody was like redneck engineering, sort of Natty Light reverse engineered, but with the cheapest of components that they could get. And they're like, I know how we'll do it. We'll use canned corn. That'll get them, yeah. Like, it just...
It's got a pretty color.
I think we might need a second opinion. It's alcoholic, though.
It is very alcoholic.
It is very alcoholic.
Much alcohol, zero taste.
Mm-hmm. No, it does taste.
It does. It's not pleasant.
It doesn't. It just...
It's tangy and sweet, with no flavor of corn. Now, I did kill my tongue about a week ago, so this is just what I'm getting on the areas that still work.
Yeah, she can't really taste much.
I boiled the inside of my mouth.
Yeah. So, if I had to guess, from the taste of it, I would say that the alcohol is north of 7%. That's kind of the way it feels. It's not quite 12% because I don't know if any of you have tried a higher than 12% beer, but for the most part, it's not pleasant. It's very much like you're drinking to forget. So
will it brew?
It
Probably
did brew.
not. It did brew. It did brew.
Now, okay, let's kind of like it's supposed to be. I bet a lot of this flavor, a lot of the like sort of bread flavor, is because the yeast hasn't separated. Because I can't pressurize, I also cannot filter. Because even for a beer, that is very opaque. That's not...
It looks almost gelatin in nature.
It looks like semen.
I'm sorry, but if any of your bodily fluids are this color, you should see a healthcare professional.
Oh, man.
And you shouldn't have someone on the internet be telling you that. You should know that you need to see a healthcare professional, because that is not a normal color. That is infection.
That's fair. It looks like pus, not semen. Alright, so here's the game plan. We got a mini fridge and we're cold crashing other things to try to get a lot of the sediment to come out.
We'll cold crash one of these and we'll get a second opinion.
We will give our second opinion after it's cold crashed.
Yep.
You'll be able to see the difference, if there is any difference. Sometimes when you cold crash things, there is no difference. I think that there should be at least a little bit of sediment that falls out. But this is a pretty solid fermentation run.
You know what this kind of looks like?
What?
When you make a can of cream corn, you know how it has that cream around the corn?
Okay.
The whole batch is the color of the cream.
Yeah, but there really isn't that much sugar in corn.
No, we had to add a bunch of sugar.
No, but I mean, like, the flavor that you get from, for example, for a beer, you don't add sugar to a proper beer.
Mm-mm.
Like a wheat beer or something like that. There's enough sugar in the wheat itself that you can extract those sugars by means of boiling.
Yeah, corn is just mostly starch, though.
Corn is mostly starch. Even when you get corn-based ethanol, the ethanol that they can pump off of corn is like, yeah, you can get ethanol, but it's only 40% yield. Ton per ton, it's not that great. It's not very efficient, like, at all. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the corn flavor fell out because, frankly, there's not that much sugar in the amount of corn. I feel like if we were to redo this, we would probably have to get about a gallon of corn in order to make about a gallon, maybe a gallon and a half of beer.
Yeah. But I think this is where we should end it.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we try to make it better. See us on social media. We have Discord. It's always in the video description. In case anybody was ever curious about that, where do I find your Discord? It's always in the video description. There's a permalink.
There's also a Twitter and an Instagram that are mostly inactive.
Mostly dead, because we have lives.
And we suck at social media.
Correct. I got family trying to contact me on Facebook. I'm more active on YouTube than I am on Facebook. I am more active on my Gmail account than I am on YouTube. Or Facebook.
Best place to find us is Discord.
Yeah. Hit us up on Discord.
But I think that about ends it. Will it brew? Solid maybe.
At this point in time, I consider this to be a failure. I am waiting to see if it can be redeemed.
Solid maybe.
Solid maybe. I still think no.
In the end, I also think it's probably going to be a no, but let's give it a shot.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye. Oh shit! Hold on, we have to redo a whole thing.
Oh, come on. Alright, hit me with the water again.
Alright, we're still going. Go.